What's that story?
But Victor, it's interesting though, because my indicator is patented now, US patented, so it's not going to affect Scandinavian capital markets. So don't worry, guys, unless you think there's an opportunity here. But we think there's real.
I can't hear.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like it can go alongside. I mean, there might be a real interest because there are people who are looking at us right now because of the tangible success that the indicator's had and the fact it's patented, and thinking there's a broker play here somewhere, whether it's with a JV or something like that. And that's something we're really ready to look at as well, because, and this is where it gets difficult, a broker has to be very careful how it communicates with its clients. A broker can't say, use us, you're going to make more money with us. Whereas sort of people providing services can to an extent. So there lies the problem in that we've got an indicator that's patented and can't be replicated. To be fair, it's rather difficult to replicate anyway. But even if it could, it couldn't through the patent. And therefore, imagine if there's a broker in the US markets, that is, who's got it. We know that the broker market has high attrition rates, but it's also a very fluid market. Brokers can come in and out. So it's a very interesting proposition. I mean, when we're talking about brokers, and what I find with American brokers, obviously not Scandinavian capital markets, but with American brokers, they do make life, I think, more difficult today than they did 15 years ago. I mean, some of the platforms out there are so difficult to use for the retail investor, and I don't understand why, because the technology is there to make it easy. And I'm not talking about Robinhood easy, which is like spinning a wheel and trading kind of thing, but putting together bracket orders, trading off the charts, trading off your mobile devices should be really easy, not only just to say buy, but also to put a bracket order in. It's not difficult. But they don't do it. And, if you go, dare I say it, Interactive Brokers, Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, all these platforms, there's just so much noise in them. You just get lost in them. And so I think there's a definite space for not just the Robinhoods, because obviously they're very successful, and eToros, but a strata above those for a more educated market where you could put in slightly more involved orders on a set and forget basis, and they're not catering for it properly with the US brokers. And I can't speak for Scandinavian capital markets or whether there's even a need with you guys, but certainly in America there is a need, and they're not doing it, and I don't understand why, because to me it seems like a very obvious play. But yeah, that's just me.
I think it's just also has to do with the trader. Like, they always want more, and then that's probably what you're seeing with the Thinkorswims and whatnot. They're trying to give them everything, and then it's like, how do you build or customize that to really fit your needs? We have MT4 and we have CTrader. CTrader is probably closer to the platform that you're talking about in terms of being easy to use.
CTrader.
The risk. Yeah, you can understand the risk. Exactly, CTrader, and you can understand the risk that you're putting into the markets at a given time, and really control your trade. But everybody's just used to, when they're trading FX, they're just used to MT4, so they stick with it. And it's, I guess it's an alligator, because it's the dinosaur that survived all throughout the ages, if I were to describe it like something. So it just survives in any environment, really. So.
Yeah, well, eventually somebody will put enough effort to dethrone this dinosaur too. But what it is about is, well, to me, for example, what could revolutionize the retail trading platform market, particularly for FX and CFDs, is easily codable algorithms, something that facilitates the trader who doesn't know how to code, and basically eliminates this requirement to learn the MQL4 language, or I know that C-Algo also, C-Trader has this C-Algo thing going, but yeah, why can't I just type some conditions and the machine does the rest? Like it's technically possible. It should be doable, but nobody has ever done it to that level yet.
I'm gonna answer. You got to be careful what you wish for, because what people in retail never hear, and it's really interesting because there's hundreds, thousands of retail educators out there with their systems, and there's one word that not only they don't ever say, they don't actually know what it means, and that is overfitting. And the problem with these kind of systems that you're talking about, Victor, is that by and large they are bound to be overfitted. And there's this whole big thing about artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, we do a little bit of it as well with us, but we use it really sparingly, because artificial intelligence, machine learning is not the nirvana of trading. And I'll tell you why. If you think about a round thing, sort of, with kind of two dark things here, sticky out things here, something there and something there, that's something that artificial intelligence is very good at discerning what it is, and even various distortions of it to create different animals and whatever. But when you're talking about something as diverse in terms of the information, the data sources of it as trading and the different things one can do with price, it runs up against some real issues, because too many parameters is a function or will produce overfitting. And what overfitting basically means is that it'll work great on the testing data, but then when you run it on data that it doesn't know about, it's going to fall down, and it does. So AI is obviously something that will progress over the years, but it's not the nirvana that everyone thinks that it is. And so I think that the technology of which you speak, which would probably utilize some of that, and people do their kind of just let the algorithm do what it does, it will, I think, for better, not for worse, it would fail. And that's good, because once you get to a situation where machines can do everything, then there's not going to be any market, and that's not a good thing.
Well, of course, it's something that every trading system eventually fails. It's just about giving it enough time, so that.
Well, it also depends on how overused it is. I mean, again, we talk exactly. About we talk a concept of in my world, we talk about the concept of information that everyone has, and then scarce information. And scarce information is the kind of thing that, Coca-Cola and KFC, they have scarce information. They have a recipe that no one knows, and it's very tightly protected. And that creates billion-dollar businesses. And scarce information will always work if you've got it. Insider information, or just very, very on-point analysis, or information sources that other people might not have, that will always work. So we always want those kind of inefficient markets. We never want to get to a point where the markets are even remotely efficient. It would be a bad thing. There'll be a sad day if that happens. And I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetimes, for sure. But yes, I think that there is this sort of concept in retail that, machines are the best thing. Well, we've just been talking to hedge funds, and they don't want that. They actually want more discretion in the decision-making process. Now, of course, there are some, the high-frequency ones, who don't, but hopefully there's enough room for all types of players, and that will keep the markets reasonably inefficient, because that's what we need to have a market that we can all play in and enjoy. We don't want too much efficiency.
From what we've seen over the past year and a half, the efficient markets hypothesis is pretty much dead. So I think we're safe on that.
I think. Well, what about the last day? What about the last 24 hours? That would do it too. But that's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing, and I think. But it's really interesting because what really alluding to is the fact that people go, oh, I use my AI, and marketers are always trying to say, oh, how much AI are you using? I go, do you actually know what it is? And of course they want it, it's the buzzword, but
sure.
The reality is, and I'm sure you'll probably see AI and machine learning around me and my stuff, okay? You will, because that's what the promoters want us to say, and there is a little bit, but I will tell you right now, we do use it, but very deliberately, really sparingly, because otherwise we will be overfitting, and we don't want to be doing that. So just so you know, because what you'll find is in about, I don't know, 2 months time or 6 months time, you'll go, hang on, Guy was saying that AI, you should be using it sparingly. What's all this copy saying about him using AI? So I want to be on record saying we will only ever use it sparingly, no matter what the marketers say. But we do use elements of it, but just with very, very careful consideration. Just so you
have to be able to make those adjustments, right? So
it's a very large caveat.